When learning to cook, you need to understand the basic methods and principles of cookery. Those principles can then be applied to any dish from any country in the world. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the techniques, ingredients and equipment used by professional chefs globally. Understanding the methods of cookery, it's like understanding a universal culinary language. Hello and welcome to the fundamentals of cookery. Today, what we're going to talk about is knives. Every kitchen has knives and you have to have a really good set. I'm going to show you now the key knives to have in your set and how to use them. Firstly, we have a chef's knife. A chef's knife has a nice long blade. It has a really sharp point and a strong heel for pushing through tougher vegetables. Secondly, in the kit, we have a bread knife. Now, a serrated knife should have really nice subtle serrations. The ones with the really sharp teeth will tear bread apart and tear meat apart especially. This one here is much better to use. Then we have the steel. The steel is there for honing a knife, which means to keep it sharp. It doesn't actually sharpen the knife. So we need to keep that on our hands all day. Next in the kit, we need a flexible fish knife. This is a very flexible knife, so you have to be careful. You can cut yourself if you try and use it for anything other than fish. The flexibility allows it to go around the bones of the fish and you leave all the maximum meat on the actual fish itself. Then we have a boning knife. The boning knife is very rigid, great for cutting through lamb and beef, and this nice heel on the bottom here scrapes along the bone beautifully to leave it nice and clean. And lastly, we have a paring knife. Now the paring knife is a fantastic knife. It's small, it's easy to use, great for peeling vegetables, cutting segments out of fruit and so forth. A really fantastic knife to have in the kit. And that really is it. Of course there's more knives you can buy, but this is the basic kit. What I want to do now is show you how to sharpen your knives. And it's really important that you buy yourself a stone. Now a stone has a rough edge on the stone and it also has a smooth edge. And we need to use the rough edge first. That's going to take off maximum steel. Of course, when you're taking off the steel, you need to do it nice and even. So we need a lubricant on the stone, such as oil or detergent or water. It really doesn't matter, but make sure you keep using the same lubricant every time. To sharpen the knife, spread your fingers evenly over the back of the knife, and that will stop getting a wearing spot in one area. It'll make it nice and even. Start from the point at about a 25-degree angle, and then force your knife across the stone from the tip to the heel. Once again, from the tip to the heel. Once you feel that you've sharpened one side of the knife, turn it over and do it again on the other side, from tip to heel. We do that about 10 times, turn it over, and then do the same on the smooth side. Now once you've done that, your knife should have been sharpened. Give it a nice little clean, and then run it over the steel. Now the steel is there to hone the knife. It's a magnet. You hold it away from your body at about 45-degree angle, and again, you start this time with your heel and we run to the tip. Never move your hand towards the other hand because you can cut yourself. So just let your arm drop. Start with the heel and then just let it drop. And then again to the other side, 25-degree angle again, and then let it drop. It's about a thumb's nail width away from the steel. Now, before we start cutting, I want to talk about some safety. When carrying a knife, hold it by your side. It's the safest way, never have it pointing out. Also, when you're passing a knife to somebody, just put it down on the bench and let them pick it up. That way they have control of the knife. When washing the knife, never leave it in a bowl of soapy water. People can't see it, they'll reach in and they'll cut themselves. And lastly, don't leave it on the side of the bench because somebody could knock it and it will fall. And if it does fall, don't try and catch it. Just let it fall. It really is the safest way. Now, I want to get into some cutting. We're going to start with a carrot. And before we cut the carrot, I'm just going to show you how to hold your hands. Always use your knuckles as a guideline. At home, most people tend to cut like this, but if you cut your fingers, you'll feel it for the rest of your life. At the back of your fingers here is only bone, and if you do cut yourself, it will heal and you'll be able to progress. Over time, you'll learn to use one of your two knuckles. I tend to use my centre knuckle. Hold the knife blade against the side of your knuckle and then allow the knife to cut through the carrot. Now what I've done here is I've taken off a thin edge, and I always do this on a cylindrical piece of fruit or vegetable. By doing this, we've created a nice flat surface on the carrot, and that will help it be nice and stable on the table. Then we hold it down and we continue to use our knuckle as a guide, keeping the thumb at the back. There's two motions you can use when you're cutting. Number one, I call it the locomotion. You keep the top of your knife, or the tip of your knife, on the board, and the back of the knife just runs along like this. It's sort of like the side of a train on the wheels. The second version is where you drag the knife backwards. This is a much faster way of cutting, and you really should only do this once you've had some experience with the first method. You should start nice and slow, never rush yourself, and over time you will get much faster at cutting with a knife. Now I can't let you go without showing you the most commonly used vegetable in the kitchen, the onion. Now with the onion, it's really important that we take off the root very close to the end. Well, the reason why we do that is it holds the onion together while we're cutting it. On the other side of the onion, which is the top of the onion, we can cut that a little bit deeper, and that just exposes all of the nice leaves of the onion. The easiest way to cut an onion and to peel an onion is to cut it in half, and that allows you to get easy access to the leaves so that you can peel it nice. There's two common ways of cutting an onion. One is sliced and the other is diced. To slice an onion, the easiest way is just to rotate the onion and then cut from one end to the other. Using the pull-back method, I slice through the onion and only ever go to the top of the onion. Once you've reached the top of the onion, you're going to start going downhill, and that's where you could cut yourself. At this point, rotate the onion over so that you go uphill again. Now when dicing an onion, this tip is a gift. From the top of the onion, cut the knife through the thickness that you want the cuts to be. So this is a large dice. Holding together, because we've cut so close to the root, we now cut through from the side. And what that means is that when I make the next cut, it's going to fall apart into an even dice and we won't have to recut it. And you'll see, as we cut the onion, it falls apart into a perfect dice. So with a good selection of clean, sharp knives and used in the right way, your cutting will become so easy. Remember, it's not what you cook, it's how you cook it. When learning to cook, you need to understand the basic methods and principles of cookery. Those principles can then be applied to any dish from any country in the world. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the techniques, ingredients and equipment used by professional chefs globally. Understanding the methods of cookery, it's like understanding a universal culinary language. Hello and welcome to the fundamentals of cookery. Today, what we're going to talk about is knives. Every kitchen has knives.